Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. We're going to be talking to you guys about men need therapy. Yes, we're going to be talking to you guys, men need therapy. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads. And for those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. Yes, cuz. Again, we're going to talk to you guys about men need therapy. Alright. Whew. I did this blog because I really wanted to talk about some of the things that I see amongst my gender. We do things unprovoked, and it causes problems for the opposite sex because we've not dealt with certain things internally. And I was watching Love Goals quite recently, and we were talking about Benzino, and I was looking at him and some of his behaviors, and I was just looking at like, this is a broken individual who's not dealt with himself, and it's now spilling over onto his relationship currently at the moment, and how he processes and how he deals with her. And not only is he dealing with her incorrectly, but he's actually injecting poison, because the Bible says that our words, there's life and death in them, but it also says as well that, you know, our tongue, it can induce poison, and it means that the words that we can say can slowly kill somebody. It's not always that it kills a person immediately. It can be something that comes over you. Now, if you've been in the presence of certain parents who said something to you negatively, right, you'll see that that sits on your mind for a very long time until you're old and until you know better and you can learn how to address it. Those words are still playing. That's what we call poison. Yeah, it works against you, you know, all the time. And so I from that I wanted to do a video called Men Need Therapy. One of the things I realized when I was myself, you know, before I got saved, I had a lot of issues which I was dealing with, and, you know, insecurity, fears, you know, I had my certain character traits, the way I viewed women. You know, I knew that women were a sacred thing. I knew women were precious, but when you're in the world, there are bitches, hoes, whores, slags. We name them so many different names, and we may not necessarily think they are those things, but we're happy to label them. And one of the reasons why we're happy to label them, let's be very honest with ourselves, is because of films and music. And this is something that I don't want to go too deep into because it's another topic. But the media itself, music media, industry, is happy for the black continent to label their women bitches, hoes, whores, slags, gold diggers, all that kind of thing, and degrade them. And the women are happy to dance to that type of music. It's a loss situation. Yeah, because it's almost like we've got no choice, because these are songs that we're getting played, and these are also the artists that are being forced to say these kind of things because this is what apparently sells, right? And we don't necessarily see that same kind of thing in the white community when it comes to music. I'm only mentioning this because of mindsets that get presented to us, especially within the black community. So actually, we should say not just men need therapy. I'll say specifically as well, black men need therapy. All right, but a lot of our mindsets and the way we think about women is so incorrect, and a lot of it comes from self-hate. Look, the Bible says that two shall become one, yeah, and that when that a man who loves his wife will never doesn't want to bring harm to her, because that's his image, that's his mirror image in a sense, right? So how is it you've got guys calling women bitches, hoes, whores, slags, yeah, saying all these things? It's because the mirror image of that they have of themselves is one that is also distorted. The image of what they see, the value that they put on women is also distorted. And the same way that white people have put a lower value on us as black people is the exact same way black men, especially, you know, and white men too, but I just wanted to specifically go to us, we put a degrading value on our women. It's the exact same way. So it's like, no, I'm not racist. You know, but your thought process of how you think about black people, racist. Oh, I'm not sexist, I'm not chauvinistic, but I want you to get your ass in the kitchen. It's like, so what? You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I mentioned all of this, because this is all conditioning to how you view the woman, to how you're going to treat her, to how society then treats her, to how the system of patriarchy works against you and her. Because patriarchy actually kills both men and women. The winners are only the elites. The winners are not necessarily the normal males and women. The winners are elites. Now, the patriarchy does benefit men more than women. We get away with a lot of stuff, yeah. But within that patriarchy, there's also what do you call a recoil, which is when you load the gun and you shoot, the force that comes from the gun, yeah, it hits you back. That's the exact same way patriarchy works for us. It's like the moment that you're winning from patriarchy, you're also losing. You're getting hit at the same time because you're now stuck in toxic masculinity, can't express your emotions, you're not allowed to be weak at any moment, you must always have financial provision every single moment of the time. There's a certain type of male that's acceptable. If not, you're labeled as weak, camp, gay, whatever. There's a certain level of patriarchy that is acceptable in terms of masculinity. So all of this plays into then depression and how men struggle to open up, etc. And when they fail to open up, they then begin to release that energy onto our counterparts, women. So when I say men need therapy, there's so much external forces coming that internally there's too much pressure, it goes back out again. And so what we see is something like unprovoked cheating. It blows my mind, yeah, that us men, we can be so unprovoked in our cheating. Like a guy could be with a girl for 5 years and just be unprovoked, he'll cheat. Not that he was unhappy, not that he was sad, not that anything. And some guys will watch the video and say, yeah, but women do the same thing. And I'm not saying they don't do the same thing. We're dealing with you, so keep quiet and deal with you. You understand? It's a problem when you only look at how to deflect. We're dealing with you. We're dealing with our gender. We can cheat unprovoked. You know, man them can, even let's say not even being 5 years, you cheating on 3 or 4 different gal, running around 5, 6 different gal, getting so many different things from them. Whilst they are hoping and wanting a relationship with you or wanting a bit more than what you're offering, you are there running amok. That is a broken individual. And this is very important as to why men need therapy. The brokenness of an individual contributes to the broken society, which then contributes to a hurt society, because broken people break people. Do you understand? So a lot of this, from a very young age, where boys are unchecked, cheating on gal, moving mad on gal, abusing them, emotionally through their infidelity. This is only one aspect of it. The other aspect is that a lot of times the abuse statistics in terms of physical abuse is men doing it to women, not the other way around, and it's men doing it to men. Do you understand? Things like rape, sexual assault, abuse, physical abuse, it's men doing it to women and men doing it to men. Why? Because the system has given men power, and they will always have power. Let me put this here, woman. We will always be in control in some shape or format because the Bible has made it so. That's the starting point in black. Now, the question is, what do you do with that power? You see, there was another man that came down from heaven that gave us a clear indication of what to do with that power. Though you're powerful, though you're a leader, though you can do things that others couldn't, the basis of great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man's grandfather would say. Great power comes great responsibility, meaning you're responsible for your power that you have, to use it and to wield it correctly in order to free the captives. And that is the opposite gender oftentimes, right? And you've got a responsibility in terms of how you deal with women. Do you understand? And so this is where men need therapy. Because if you've got a broken man who is wanting power, but because he's broken, doesn't realize he will do anything to take back power, including to abuse a woman, then what you see is what we have in society now. But because they have not had therapy, counseling, had some one-on-one time with some good sound voices that will speak some sense into them, they act upon the pain that they can't even see. They're actually acting out. It's a bit like a child being in a home where there's too much craziness going on and they act out in school. If you ask that kid, why exactly you're acting out, they may not be able to tell you, oh, because it's crazy at home. But when you find out the situation at home is crazy, you then realize why the child's acting out. A lot of men don't have introspective skills. A lot of women too don't either. But a lot of men don't have introspective skills. So what happens is, because they don't have that ability to look within themselves, they're unable to then diagnose the problem. And therefore they act outwardly. Do you feel me? They then act outwardly rather than introspectively looking at some of the faults that they have and saying, hey, boom. But that can't be an excuse as to why they do it, because women also have gone through trauma. In fact, they go through trauma all times because of us. Whether it's father, brother, cousin, You know, there's constant trauma from the male species. So why don't they act out? And the reason why they don't act out is because they have no power to act out. The system doesn't give them a position of authority. Sorry, not power. They have power to do something, but they don't have the authority. Because authority is the power and the might, the position to be able to carry out this power. They do not have the authority to do so. The society does not allow it. So they don't act out on the pain that they have. The reason why men act out is because they have the position to do so. There's no accountability when they do something because they've been given a position of authority. This is why they need therapy. Because without it, they're unable to wield this power correctly. It's a bit like Thor and Loki. The one that chooses to do the correct thing with the power becomes the hero. The one that does the wrong thing becomes the villain. You know? And the reason why is because the person has not introspectively looked into themselves and they act out. And I want to say this as well, like a lot of guys say, obviously, like I said, there's a lot of guys who say, I'm not chauvinistic, I'm not a pig, I mean, I don't discriminate for gender, blah, 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 blah. But it's not necessarily what you're necessarily saying outrightly. It's a bit like racism, right? Racism it's not that white people are saying nigger to you, no, but the system that is set up, that they're benefiting from, they contribute towards, right? And actually aid and prop up the system by continuing not to break the system and not fix the system and not challenge things. They continue to perpetuate this thing. So if I'm a man, yeah, and I am not checking how for instance, I have a daughter and a son, and I tell the daughter, listen, you know what, close your legs, make sure you're not a hole, you know, make sure like you. But then when my boy is there, I'm like, listen, bro, listen, you hit that girl in it. You got to cut us. My guy. You have now contributed towards a broken society. What you've actually said is, you don't believe the woman has any equal place. So therefore, and listen, as much as you're saying it's not the same, it's not fair because women, but then white people will say to you, it's not fair. Well, I mean, it's not fair that black people are, you know, are considered less. What do you want to do about it? Yeah, but the way you're teaching now is perpetuating that cycle. Men need therapy because if they don't, they do not come out that cycle in the way they teach their children. Yeah, quite recently we had Auntie Joshua talk about how, you know, the difference between his daughter and his son, and he was basically allowing the son to get away with murder because, or his nephew, sorry, not his son, his nephews and nieces. He was allowing his nephew and niece to get away with murder because he's a boy. Yeah, because society will allow it. Well, even if society allow it, we've got to train the boy so that he is responsible with the power that he has. This is the key thing. Power comes responsibility. Do you understand? Men need therapy. And a lot of times, men don't necessarily start off being part of the perpetuating the system that works against women, but because of pressure of wound. Yeah, you know, there's pressures of the wounds that there's wounds that we have that we don't know is there, and when they're pressured by life's events, women, situations, heartbreak, all that stuff, the monster comes out. The ogre, the dirty one, the nasty guy, the player. Let me tell you something. I was never a player type of guy. I always told my boys, listen, fix up, don't become that player type. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. I used to be that good guy. I hung around these guys for a little while. Then one day I saw the light, fam. A girl did me dirty and I said, is it? So that's what we're doing. Alright, cool. From then onwards, I became a bastard. Now, why? There were wounds that I wasn't dealing with. And because the system that I'm operating gives me license to do it and get away with it. That's why white people kill black people. That's why police officers kill black people. The system gives them license to do so. They may not necessarily say they're racist. They may not say nigger to you. But the system gives them license to. And now they shot an unarmed black guy. And then now they planted evidence on him. And now they're denying that they did anything wrong. Why? Because the system allows them to do so. And so men have become like that to women. In a sense of, because we can get away with it, we do certain things, behave in certain things. But do the same to a man, he will be crushed. Ha! And I say all of this because the Bible says that a man should be like Christ, to the church, who is a bride, right? So the man should be like Christ to the woman. That means when you lead with servitude. When you lead by serving the people. You don't lead by being served. You lead by serving. And that's the thing. So a lot of men do not know what true leadership is. And because of pain, because of brokenness, they need therapy. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys hit that up. Be blessed, stay locked, stay loaded, like, share, subscribe, and I hope we'll see you again soon.